it is time now for FYI, and a real pleasure to have in studio with us Matt Parbs. He is now with Grow Clinton. Of course, we've had him in for Men's Day for the Sawmill Museum. So we got to start out, Matt. Why the shift in careers?
Yep. So for 10 years I was there at the Sawmill Museum. But one of the things that I did for those 10 years was serve on the Convention and Visitors Bureau board. And then when the CVB, the CRDC, and the Chamber, so Chamber of Commerce, Regional Development, and Convention and Visitors Bureau merged in early 2022, I was on that merger committee and the board. And this job was just sitting there and just kept sitting there. And I just, I felt like the same thing, I was doing for the sawmill, I wanted to try to do for all of Clinton, which is, grow it and grow the quality of life and, help develop the economy and the community. And that's exactly what my job title is. And so it was just an opportunity that I just couldn't pass up. I knew I would regret not, trying to do something new.
So was it difficult to move away from the Sawmill Museum that's been such a big part of your life?
Somewhat. I'm still, have a soft spot for it. I knew I wasn't going to abandon it. I knew, it was always going to be there. So every once in a while I can still help out and do things like that and still involved. But yeah, I would say that the passion to try to, grow Clinton outside of the sawmill, I still am the Lions president, LPPA, and all these things that you were serving, and it was just like I found myself wanting and spending more time doing those type of activities than even day-to-day museum operations. So as you look back, you can kind of see the slow. Ready for a new challenge and whatnot. So
again, Vice President of Community and Economic Development. While we're talking about the North End, let's stay in that area. They just recently had that Paint It Back promotion that went up there in the area of the Sawmill Museum. That area down there looks like it could have so much potential, Matt.
Yeah, so that's, the point behind Paint It Black, which I helped out with. I was there all 10 days, too, hanging out with the artist, is a part of placemaking, basically called, activating a space. And so we as a community agree that's a riverfront, it's a tourist hub, it's a tourist anchor. We want to get a hip, cool business down there in that Toyota building. And so, through placemaking, you basically try to say, hey, look, this is a really awesome opportunity for a developer. And in the meantime, you have, a destination that can be marketed and said, hey, come look at all these murals. You could potentially, change the murals every year and do this festival every year. And so that's kind of the rationale behind that project is, we agree. There's so much potential. You got the pavilion in the Four Square Park, the farmers market pavilion. There's new businesses coming in. Someone just bought the Sterling Federal Building, bringing in a coffee shop and some medical things. There's just a lot of activity on Main Avenue, and throughout Clinton. And yeah, that riverfront study is the thing that the city's doing. And so we're trying to find what amenities need to be on our riverfront, where they should go. And so yeah, you're really in the next 5-10 years, the river is really going to transform.
I don't know that much about it, but I know that a group has gone out to Washington D.C. and talking about the continuation of the Riverfront Drive from the riverfront up toward the North End. What do you know about that, Matt?
Yeah, so that's been a project that's been in the works, really since the levee was built the very first time in the 70s. It was to basically extend the River Drive from the Showboat down to Main Avenue and then create this long road. And so yeah, a group went out to Washington D.C. We've had some meetings subsequently, since then. And so the key there is getting the engineering studies done, see the feasibility, to look at what's the true cost going to be. But in the meantime, what's great, this energy in the community is the classic chicken or the egg. Does the road come and then development, or does development drive the road? Well, why not just do both, right? So that riverfront study that's looking at amenities and what sort of development project should happen is going on at the same time as finding the engineering money and doing some of those early studies, because they got $650,000 the city did to do about half of the engineering study. They're looking for the other $1 million. And that when it went out to Washington, D.C., they had some good leads on some different federal pots of money. So the key there, right, is that we want to have all outside money fund this Riverview Drive project, and that's been the goal for about a year or so. And so that committee has gone out, and they've been able to secure some of that for the city.
There's other things we want to talk about, but just I want to bring up one more thing on this. Obviously, it would be a great benefit for the North End, but do you see it also benefiting Clinton as well, downtown area?
It would be connecting the downtown with the North End and then all those potential amenities in between. But again, it goes, the road can happen, but also these other ideas can still happen. So you don't need, right, that's what we're doing. So the marina expansion, more boat slips, updating some of the islands out there. Can you get some condos and housing on the river because you only have a dozen or so. The list goes on and on and on of projects that the road could benefit and help drive, but also that there's people looking at doing that stuff, and then maybe that's what drives the road.
When I've had Andy in on the program, one of the things I've always asked him is, does it get frustrating because it seems like it takes so long for some of these things to become a reality? How do you put up with that length of time?
Yeah, I think the biggest is that that it's a marathon, and you look around and you see how long some of these projects have developed. And for me, being a history nerd, you see that. We were just talking yesterday. We look at it and you say, oh, the lumber industry was here forever, but you really see how slowly it took even all the sawmills to build critical mass here. And then when they got the critical mass, it was 25, 30 years. And so, being a history nerd, time is a very long thing, and just to be patient. And what we're just trying to go out there is positivity, and just we swing for the fences every time. We had a project we applied for that was a huge, needed lots of acres and all that, and so you do it and figure out hey, if we hit it, then where do the acres come from type thing. But that's Andy's leadership too, and that's what attracted me to the job as well, is that type of there is no, there is no oh, we can't do it. It's just let's swing, let's try it.
Great attitude to have. Again, visiting with Matt Parbs, Grow Clinton, Vice President of Community and Economic Development. I see on your shirt, Comanche, Clinton, and Fulton. How do you tie the three communities together? Yeah,
so we are a regional development group. We're a 501c6, member-based. So we have members in Comanche and Fulton and Clinton, and outside of even those three. So with Comanche, we're Merrill Steel. It's coming in the old IPSCO building. We're working with the city of Comanche and the state and Merrill Steel to develop the incentive package, develop the plan of attack. For Fulton, we do help out in the economic development, but one of the really neat things that have happened over the past couple of years is our tourism branch represents Fulton, Clinton County, and Clinton. So we just had a great meeting yesterday with Phil Visser from the Clinton County Conservation about bringing more hunting and fishing into our tourism messaging and things like that. So we really do serve Whiteside County, Clinton County. We work closely with DeWitt Chamber of Commerce and the Quad City Chamber of Commerce to be that regional hub of development. So we really do it. I think we're going to Savannah at the end of September to Black Hawk Waterway CVB meeting. So those type of things, you really do take our regional presence very seriously and serve everybody.
Before we take a break for the weather, just want to touch upon this. Of course, we have Grow Clinton Monday at 9:05, and we get the various members in. Talk a little bit about that team. I always enjoy visiting with Leslie, Ashley, Jenny, and the others.
Yep. So we have a very when we merged, we knew we wanted to have director positions that were focusing on a particular aspect of development. So Jenny does the member relationship and small business and things like that. Stacy Borgensen is the workforce development. Ashley does marketing and events. Leslie is tourism. We have Karen, the office administrator, and then myself and Andy. And it really is a full court press when things happen. So we all circle the wagons and we all share our projects and get things done.
So you get together I would imagine Mondays, you're all there in that same office, so if something pops into your head, you can just go down the hall and maybe visit with somebody.
Correct. That is the beauty of the Armstrong building, is exactly what happens. You just, I'm a roamer anyway, so yeah, you just roam the hallways and yell out ideas.
And see if anything sticks.
Yeah.
Let's take our break for the weather right now, brought to you by American National.
We're tracking another gorgeous day with mostly sunny skies and temperatures into the upper 70s for us this afternoon. Mostly clear tonight, not as cool. We'll drop to the low 50s. And for Friday, beautiful end of the work week, sunny skies and highs in the low to mid 80s. With your WQAD Storm Track 8 forecast, I'm meteorologist Andrew Stutzky.
Beautiful morning out there. We're at 64 degrees. Our update brought to you by American National.
Kevin Schrader at American National is now offering lump sum cancer insurance. Cancer can happen at any time, and the cost associated with unexpected cancer can be overwhelming, so it pays to plan ahead. A low-cost cancer insurance policy will help pay for treatment costs and other unexpected expenses, so you can focus on your recovery instead of your financial situation. Call Kevin Schrader today at 563-244-0876 for a quote, or stop at 348 2nd Avenue South in Clinton.
We got Matt Parbs in studio on FYI, the Vice President of Community and Economic Development. Energize Clinton. You wanted to talk about that?
Yeah, so part of the role of is community development, and so a couple of months ago, Grow Clinton supported the Community Heart and Soul Project, and our name is Energize Clinton. So you're going to see a lot about it. We're collecting interviews, and we're trying to basically find as many people in the community to do either a 20-minute or so in-person interview, or there's surveys. And basically, we're trying to get out, what do you love about Clinton? What do you want to see improve about Clinton? What makes Clinton unique? And we're building this master list of, basically characteristics and projects, because then there's a funding mechanism at the end that will build an endowment through the River Bluff Foundation to start funding some of these projects.
Who's heading that up?
Alethea Cahoy from the River Bluff Foundation is the local lead, and then Community Heart and Soul is a national project, and so we're working closely with the Greater Dubuque Foundation to do that. But really, you can reach out to Grow Clinton, Andy, or I if you want to be interviewed. We're trying to find, like I said, as many voices as possible. We've done a dozen or so interviews already, and it takes about 20 minutes, and we really try to find all those things. My favorite question is, I'll ask you, where do you go to recharge after a long day? What's your favorite place in Clinton to go recharge at?
And I would say just maybe taking a look at the river. I just love the river.
Yep. And so that's a big one that everyone says. And so, then we dive in deeper and try to get out of you, like, well, what would be something you'd want on the river to help you even more recharge and things like that. So it's a really fun process. Once again, reach out to the Grow Clinton office, Andy or I.
You know what I would like to see? Some more docks where you can just fish off the riverfront. Because Mary and I love to fish, but there's really not a lot of places where you can just fish. I don't have a boat.
Yep.
so it would be really nice to be able to fish the Mississippi.
So that's what's been real cool about this Energize Clinton project is, I don't want to say that it's like low-hanging fruit or things like that, but yeah, we're getting out there, fundable, achievable projects that really enhance the day-to-day life for Clintonians. And it's not just big tourist amenity type things, but yes, what's going to just improve your day-to-day life? And that's really what our end goal is just those. They're small, but they are something that we know multiple people want. Okay, well, let's put a dock out there. One of my favorite ones was, there's every park doesn't have a water fountain and things like that. So it's been a really fun process to discover, like you just said, that's what you want and whatnot. So it gives you a voice to say that.
Very good. Maybe I'll catch a fish.
Yes, well, I can't promise that.
Put it next to a wing dam, and then maybe I can catch a catfish.
Yes.
How's that sound? Again, visiting with Matt Parbs. You got your hands in so many different things. Let's talk about Duke Slater.
Yep. So one of a really cool project is the Duke Slater Memorial Statue project. So Duke's statue is being built right now in Minnesota, and it's just a really cool. So everybody, if you don't know who Duke Slater is, he graduated in the 19-teens from Clinton High School. He went to go play at University of Iowa, was a professional football player, got his law degree, went to Chicago, and became one of the top justices in the Illinois court system. and passed away in the 1960s. The field at University of Iowa was named after Duke Slater. And so Gary DeLacy, Ted Tornow, and Hometown Pride and other community partners, the Booster Club and all that, wanted to create a statue there at the high school to let all the kids know the academic and athletic achievements, because he's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame as well. So that's going to be ready to be installed for the first home game of next year, 2024. But throughout the fall of this year and spring of next year, you're going to be seeing some concrete work and different things at the high school. And then October 25th, I think, is going to be a special event. Don't have the location and all the details confirmed yet, but I think I can say it because if I get in trouble, who cares? Dolphin will be in town.
I knew that.
Yep.
I had talked to Gary Dolphin out at the Iowa Football Media Day, and he said he's going to be in town for that.
Yep. So, the details of where and when and cost and all that are still being determined. But, it's going to be a real fun kickoff event to the Duke Slater statue.
As you pointed out, you're a little bit of a history nerd, but it is amazing that, sometimes people just don't realize. I was talking to a woman, and I won't say her name, but she said, I went to the University of Iowa. I stayed at Slater Hall. I had no idea it was named after Duke Slater.
Correct, yeah. Because I think for the longest time at that Slater Hall, it wasn't even his real shoes. I think they had maybe like his shoes in a case somewhere, and there was no real mention of who even Duke Slater was.
That is great. So, Walk of Fame, you're involved with that as well, and that induction ceremony is coming up at the end of September 24th.
Yep, that's on a Sunday from 4 to 7 at the Eagle Point Lodge. This is the third year of the Clinton County Walk of Fame. This year's nominees are Robert Bach, who saved the Trumpeter Swans. You got Spider, who, of course, Special Olympics in bowling. I hope that a lot of the Special Olympic athletes are going to be able to show up for Spider, and I think that's going to be really neat when he gets up there and all of his athletes that he's helped, stand up and give him a round of applause.
Spider Christensen, of course. I've known Spider for years.
I didn't know we actually said his last name. Lametta Wynn, of course, the mayor in the 90s. Pat Henriksen from DeWitt. She's a powerhouse in Western County, just developed so many awesome projects at the school system and all that. Don Kent, he's 100 years old, World War II vet, and then has done a lot in the Grand Mound area. And just, again, Henry Langerer was inducted in the first year. And that's something that we really want to do is these World War II veterans and then eventually Korean War veterans. We want to make sure while they're alive, they get a chance to be recognized by all of us. And then we have two deceased ones, long deceased, Lillian Russell and then W.J. Young. Lillian Russell, of course, the actress, and then W.J. Young, the lumber baron and the Clinton National Bank and all that. So
third year for this, and I would imagine you got in on the ground floor.
Yep.
Okay, how did it all come about?
As part of the Hometown Pride process, we were trying to identify kind of a way to create, actually why it's called Walk of Fame, so that was back when Mary Seeley was the CVB director. We were trying to find ways to actually make a Walk of Fame on Riverfront or somewhere where you would actually have busts or plaques and you would just have this kind of public trail and whatnot. While we were developing those ideas, we realized that we just want to do it, and so it's really blossomed into a really cool thing. I mean, this year I think we got like 40 plus submissions throughout the county, and so it was actually a really tough selection process because we had a lot of amazing nominees and whatnot. So that's been really cool. That's what we hoped when we first created it, is going to just have its own life, and it's going to be every year, and because there's never, like you said, there is a never-ending amount of amazing Clintonians that either change our city and our county, or they go off somewhere and change the course of history, and we just want to really be able to have a forever memorial for those people.
You bring up a very good point. I've been a part of the Clinton High School Athletic Hall of Fame. We just entered our 10th class into that, and you think that we're going to run out of people to put into the Hall of Fame, but no, there's so many candidates out there.
Yep, I mean there's Shauna Green, there's the coach at Illini.
Well, she's already in our athletic Hall of Fame.
But see, like, but she didn't make the cut this year.
Oh my
for
goodness.
ours. She was nominated. That's how, when we looked at it, like Don Kent. That's something very special. We want to make sure that the military aspect. Yeah. So that's always going to be a thing. If there's someone who's upwards of 90 and they're a military person, they're probably always going to be there if they have also the community aspect. That's what I love about Don's story. I mean, he came back, the greatest generation, so many of them, and it's like they saw hell, and they came back and they just wanted to make their home better. And he's devoted the rest of his life to doing that. So that's just amazing.
Appreciate your time. It's always great to have you in. Before we do let you go, of course, you just started. Hard to believe it's April. How fast has the time gone by, Matt?
I don't even know. What I like to say is the first couple of months was just like frightened with imposter syndrome. You're like, what did I even do? And then all of a sudden one day I just walked in the office and I was like, I could do this. And since then, it's just been an awesome ride, and it's just every day is just like today it's jam-packed till 9 o'clock at night. So.
And I would imagine you probably meet a lot of interesting people, not only in our community that you may have not have been in touch with, which is hard to believe, but outside of our community that you want to be a part of our community.
We could talk forever, so cut me off at any time, but like on Friday, we had a coffee talk from Travel Iowa. Laura Friest, who is the travel liaison, who lives in Decorah, did all of their development in Decorah. We've hit it off over the weekend, and basically she was raised $350 million in grants in the Northeast Iowa, and so we're going to be talking over the next couple of weeks, and that's the type of thing that could just. I came back from that meeting like literally bouncing off the walls at Grow Clinton. Like, you wouldn't believe the Bodine Infrastructure Grant. Why is it even called that?
It looks like you're having a great time. So, hey, thanks again so much
Gary,
for coming
having
in.
me. Yeah.
I appreciate it. Again, FYI with Matt Parbs.